don't know where you're going, you're probably not going to get there. There's an old adage that say people don't plan to fail, people fail to plan, and that's so true. As I was saying, people just don't, they fail to plan. They fail to say what they want specifically. They just go along life hoping to get where they want to go. You don't get somewhere by accident. Well, you get nowhere by accident. SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. It's very important to have SMART goals. An example of a SMART goal, some of you know an example of a SMART goal would be, this year, I am not going to get a refund anticipation loan to get my refund back. Or this year, I'm going to decrease my credit card debt by $1,000. Or by September 1st, 2009, I will save $1,000. There's two words, which can be one word, that's the biggest obstacle to reaching your dreams. It's someday. It's the biggest obstacle. Someday I'm going to save for retirement. Someday I'm going to save for my children's education. Someday I'm going to go on that second honeymoon. Someday I'm going to stop buying that $4 or $5 cup of coffee. Someday never comes. Someday never comes. Someday you all have dreams. You were talking about your dreams. But if you just want to do them someday, someday somebody else is going to be living your dream. So it's so important, so important. Write your goals down. Write them down. And today at the end, we're going to have an opportunity to write down just one goal. But believe me, we write down our goals every year. And we don't reach all our goals, but we reach at least half of them. How many times do you come to the end of the year and you go, what did I do? What did I do with this whole year? How many times do you do that? But if you write down goals, you can actually see what you did. So it's so important. Now, like I said, a goal is like a destination, but you need a roadmap. A roadmap shows you how to get to your destination. And a budget is like a roadmap. A budget will help you to figure out how to get where you want to go. But just like a map, if we were going on a trip, let's say you're going somewhere you've never driven before, let's say Montana. Maybe you've gone to Montana, but let's say you were driving to Montana, you had never gone before, and you took a map with you. What would you do? You would keep looking at the map to make sure you were on course. Just like a budget. You don't just make a budget, put it aside, and at the end of the year, decide if you kept your budget. You have to keep checking it. You have to keep checking it to make sure you're getting where you're going. Because just like a trip, if you get a little off course, you look at your map, you get back on course. With a budget, you take a look at it maybe every week, maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every payday. You look at it. If you get a little off course, you look back at your budget to get back on course. So tonight, as we talk about goals and we talk about budget, my question is, what's your plan? What's your plan? Think about your plan. Think about your goals. Again, let's look at budgeting. What is a budget? I've talked about a budget. I think a budget is a great tool, but it's a tool to help you manage your money. Simply as that. It can be as simple as a piece of paper where you write down your bills and your income. Or it can be extravagant as a spreadsheet where you write down when everything comes in, day by day, all those things. But it can be very simple. Why should you budget? A budget helps you to plan so your expenses, which is what goes out, doesn't exceed your income, which hopefully is what's coming in. That's what a budget will do. Also, it'll help you know where your money's going. How many times do you look and say, where did my money go at payday? Where did all my money go? I don't know where it is. You dig in your pocket, it's empty. You look at your bank account, it says zero. Hopefully not less than zero, but it says zero. You're like, where did my money go? And a budget will help you find out where it went, at least if you have it written down. Sometimes at the end of payday, you might have $0, but at least if you knew you paid the mortgage or your rent, you paid all your bills, at least you could see where your money went. And that's what a budget will help you do. Budgeting can help you reach your goals. It can help you plan for your retirement. If you can budget, I'm going to put aside this much every paycheck or every month for retirement. It can be in your budget, it can come directly out of your check. Either way, that's what a budget can do. A budget can help you reduce your debt. First of all, if you're paying your bills on a budget, hopefully you're paying down your bills if you're not getting new bills. And then finally, a budget can help reduce stress. And I say that because financial stress is one of the leading causes of divorce, separation, conflict in marriage and in families. And believe me, if you know where your money's going and you're paying down your bills, it's going to relieve some of that stress and tension. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'll guarantee it. Budgeting will help relieve stress in marriage. Now, budgeting consists of expenses, and some of the expenses are up on the board. First of all, tithes and offering, mortgage, auto, clothing, personal care and grooming. These are all examples of expenses. You might have expenses not up there, but you know what expenses you spend on. And then we look at income. Income includes your wages, sometimes business income, earnings from investment, gifts, things like that. And a lot of times when we put a budget together, a lot of time our expenses exceed our income. What we have going out is greater than what we have going in. So I do what we call trim the fat. We have to look at what expenses we can take out. Sometimes it's that cup of coffee. Sometimes it might be cable. Some people pay a lot for cable. Some people have these movie channels. When I get the free movie channels, it might be, they'll give me a 3-month, and it seems like during that week they pay the same movie over and over again. I'm thinking, why would I pay for this? But some people do. And they pay for all 3 major movie channels. And their bill might be $100 a month. So they can get rid of the movie channels and maybe save $45 a month or something like that. So you look at your expenses and figure out what can you cut out. And that money will either go into your pocket or go into paying other bills. Now there's a method of budgeting that's very, very old, but it's very, very useful. It's called the envelope budgeting method. And what it is for those who don't want to go high tech and don't want to use spreadsheets or the computer, the envelope budgeting method works like this. The example up there is an example of $1,200. Let's say you get paid $1,200 in your paycheck. What you do is you convert that to cash, and you have an envelope marked for all your expenses. So you put cash in the envelope for mortgage or gas and everything. So the thing is you will have your money for your bills. So a lot of times we get the $1,200 in our pocket, in our hands rather, and we spend it before we pay our bills. This way, you put it in there for bills. So, for instance, miscellaneous might be a movie. After that $25 is gone, you don't dip in the mortgage or the rent envelope for it. You don't dip in the medical insurance envelope for it. It's gone. It's gone. So this way it can help you stay on top of your bills, pay your bills, and as you see here too, there's a place for vacation, there's a place for saving, so you can reach your goals, pay your bills, and believe me, it'll be a lot better than having bill collectors chase you. This is a simpler version of budgeting that can be very useful to you. Dr. King said, as long as the mind is enslaved, the body can never be free. Now, he was talking about physical bondages and physical slavery, but I'd like to paraphrase that and say, as long as the mind is enslaved, your finances will never be free. Your money will never be free. As long as you think in a certain way where all you do is spend your money, spend your money, and spend your money, you'll always have bill collectors chasing you. You'll never reach your goals. So even there's a way to get free, but as long as you keep thinking the same way you're thinking, nothing will ever change. So you have to change the way you think, and sometimes it's not a radical change, it's just a little change. It's just a little change. Like I said, if you're a coffee drinker, excuse me, but $4 or $5 cup of coffee, that little change, where maybe you had no savings, you end up with $900 or $1,000. But as long as your mind doesn't change, you'll never be free. Pay yourself first. What does it mean? Pay yourself first. Put aside savings for yourself. First thing you do, put aside savings for yourself. I talked about taking it out of your paycheck. There's automatic savings. It's a